Have you ever wondered what happens when you stop being the center of someone's world? Imagine, just for a moment, that you disappear from someone's life. No calls, no texts, no interaction whatsoever. What do you think unfolds in the silence you leave behind? This isn't just a hypothetical scenario. It's a window into understanding the profound impact we have on each other's lives and the unexpected lessons we can learn when we step back. Today, I invite you to dive deep with me into the often overlooked but incredibly transformative power of absence through the lens of Stoicism. We'll explore how disappearing can lead to personal growth, stronger relationships, and a more resilient sense of self. I encourage all of you to keep an open mind as we navigate these ideas. Many of you have shared how this channel has opened your eyes to new perspectives and brought valuable wisdom into your daily lives. And for that, I am incredibly grateful. If you're new here, or if you've been with us but haven't yet subscribed, now is the time to join our community. Hit that subscribe button, like this video, and don't hesitate to share it with friends who are passionate about personal growth and philosophical exploration. Skeptics might find some ideas challenging, but I urge everyone to watch until the end. The insights we discuss today are essential for anyone looking to deepen their understanding of themselves and the Stoic philosophy that can help us lead more fulfilled lives. Stay tuned, let's get into it. And remember, the journey of self-discovery is not just about finding answers, but also about asking the right questions. It's that initial sting you feel when someone just stops reaching out, stops responding, and you're left wondering, what just happened? Now, imagine this on a personal level. You've been interacting with someone regularly, and suddenly there's just silence. This isn't about them not answering a single message. It's about them disappearing from your day-to-day life completely. The impact? It feels like a personal snub, a direct hit to your ego. This experience of rejection can be deeply unsettling. It shakes the foundation of what you believed was a mutual connection. Was it something you said? Did you misinterpret the signals? It's natural to spiral into these questions. But here's where Stoic philosophy brings us some solace. Stoics would advise us to look at rejection not as a personal attack, but as a reality of life that we cannot control. They teach us that the only thing truly within our control is our own actions and reactions. In the face of rejection, Stoicism doesn't just offer cold comfort. It provides a proactive way to deal with the emotional turbulence. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." So, when someone disappears, it's an opportunity, a tough one, admittedly, to practice this principle. It's about acknowledging our hurt feelings without letting them overwhelm us or dictate our responses. Moreover, Stoicism encourages us to detach from our need for external validation. When someone vanishes, it's easy to feel unworthy or unloved. But remember, your worth isn't determined by someone else's attention or lack thereof. By embracing Stoic detachment, you can start to view rejection as a path to personal freedom. It frees you from the need to please others and ties your self-esteem not to their actions, but to your own virtues and actions. So, while the sting of rejection is real and can be painful, Stoicism teaches us that it's also an invitation to grow, to fortify our emotional resilience, and to align more closely with our true selves. It challenges us to ask, how can I use this experience to become stronger, more self-sufficient, and less dependent on the validation of others? It's about turning a potentially paralyzing experience into a stepping stone for personal development. Curiosity is that little voice in your head that starts to ask, why did they leave? What did I miss? What are they doing now without me? It's a natural human response to seek answers, to fill in the blanks when we're left with uncertainty. When someone just vanishes from our lives, that uncertainty can feel overwhelming. Curiosity, though, isn't just about nosiness or prying into someone's life. It's a deeper, more introspective process that involves reflecting on the dynamics of the relationship. It pushes you to analyze past interactions and question possible outcomes. This can be both constructive and destructive. On one hand, it drives you to seek knowledge and understanding, which are key aspects of Stoic philosophy. On the other hand, if left unchecked, it can lead you down a rabbit hole of overthinking and speculation. Stoicism offers a unique perspective on handling curiosity. The Stoics, such as Seneca and Epictetus, emphasize focusing on what's within our control, our reactions to disappearance, the emotions we feel, and the actions we choose to take. These are within our control. However, understanding or controlling the other person's reasons for leaving is not. Stoicism teaches us to accept this limitation and redirect our curiosity towards self-improvement and personal reflection. Moreover, Stoicism encourages us to use curiosity as a tool for self-discovery, rather than as a means to dwell on what might have been. It's about asking ourselves, what does this curiosity reveal about my needs and desires? What can I learn from this situation about my own values and how I relate to others? This way, curiosity becomes not just about the other person, but about understanding ourselves better. We should also consider the role of curiosity in fostering resilience. By exploring our feelings and thoughts about the disappearance, we are practicing the Stoic virtue of reflection. This reflection isn't a passive activity. It's an active, deliberate, and rational examination of our own internal states. It challenges us to grow from the situation, to develop a thicker skin, and to prepare ourselves better for future uncertainties. When someone vanishes, it's like a mirror suddenly held up to our lives, forcing us to look at ourselves in a way we might not have done before. This reflection is about more than just wondering what went wrong or why someone left. It's about examining our own behaviors, reactions, and perhaps the role we played in the dynamics that led to their departure. Self-reflection prompted by such an event encourages us to delve into a deeper understanding of our desires, expectations, and attachments. It asks us to question the nature of our relationships. Were we too dependent? Did we perhaps ignore signs of discomfort or disinterest from the other person? Stoicism, with its focus on introspection and control over one's own actions and responses, provides a valuable framework here. The philosophy teaches us to use every experience, especially challenging ones, as opportunities for growth and self-improvement. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius often spoke about the importance of turning inward and examining our own motives and actions. He wrote about observing ourselves as critically and honestly as we might examine someone else, without bias or self-deception. This kind of rigorous self-reflection is not about self-blame, but about self-awareness and improvement. It helps us to identify not just our strengths, but also our vulnerabilities and areas where we can become more resilient and adaptive. Furthermore, self-reflection helps us to redefine our personal boundaries and expectations. It teaches us about acceptance of others as they are, and acceptance of the fact that we cannot control anyone's actions but our own. This can be a liberating realization, albeit a difficult one. It shifts the focus from trying to change others or situations to working on ourselves, which is the only true area of our control. In the Stoic view, every external event provides us with a chance to practice virtues like patience, temperance, and courage. When someone disappears from our lives, it's a prime opportunity to practice these virtues by reflecting on our emotional responses. How do we handle loss? How do we cope with uncertainty? The answers to these questions can propel our personal development in significant ways. Lastly, self-reflection driven by such circumstances allows us to emerge stronger and more centered. It teaches us to rely less on external validation and more on our internal moral compass. As we navigate through our feelings and thoughts about the disappearance, we build a stronger foundation of self-reliance and confidence in our ability to handle whatever life throws our way. Independence isn't just about being alone. It's about the ability to stand on your own, make decisions independently, and maintain emotional resilience regardless of others' actions or presence. When someone you regularly interact with suddenly vanishes, you're thrust into a situation where you must rely on yourself. Initially, this might feel daunting or even isolating, but it's also an incredible opportunity to strengthen your personal autonomy. Stoicism places a high value on self-sufficiency, not in the sense of isolating oneself from others, but in developing an inner strength that remains stable regardless of external circumstances. The philosophy teaches that true freedom comes from being dependent on as few external things as possible. When someone disappears, it forces you to confront your dependencies. Were you relying too heavily on their companionship or approval? Did their presence define your happiness or self-esteem? These are tough questions, but essential for cultivating a Stoic approach to life. As you navigate through this newfound independence, you'll likely discover aspects of yourself and your capabilities that were previously overshadowed by the relationship. This is the time to explore interests, hobbies, or even friendships that were perhaps neglected. It's about filling your life not with another person's presence, but with activities and pursuits that contribute to your own growth and happiness. Moreover, independence teaches you about your own resilience. Stoicism doesn't just encourage endurance in the face of hardship. It promotes seeing every challenge as an opportunity to exercise virtue. The sudden absence of someone can serve as a practical exercise in patience, fortitude, and temperance, key Stoic virtues. Each day that you navigate without relying on that person, you are practicing Stoic principles, building up your moral character, and reaffirming your capacity to live well on your own terms. Independence also reshapes how you view relationships in the future. With a Stoic mindset, you come to understand that while relationships can add tremendous value to life, your well-being shouldn't hinge on them. This understanding can lead to healthier relationships that are based on mutual respect and shared values, rather than dependency or neediness. It shifts the dynamic from one of necessity to one of choice, where relationships are maintained not out of fear of loneliness, but because they are genuinely enriching. Lastly, embracing independence through a Stoic lens helps mitigate the fear of future losses. It arms you with the knowledge that no matter who comes into or leaves your life, you are capable of maintaining your equanimity and continuing on your path. This doesn't mean you won't feel pain or miss people who leave, but rather that these emotions won't derail your overall stability and happiness. Let's delve into the topic of anxiety, which often emerges when someone unexpectedly exits our life. Anxiety in this context is that uneasy feeling, a kind of inner turmoil that arises not just from the person's absence, but from the uncertainty it brings. You might start to question everything, from the stability of your other relationships to your self-worth. This anxiety can feel overwhelming, but it also serves as a crucial area for personal growth and application of Stoic principles. Anxiety when someone disappears often stems from our natural desire to control and predict our environment. We like to feel secure, to know what to expect from our relationships and daily interactions. When someone vanishes without explanation, it disrupts this sense of predictability, leaving us feeling vulnerable and unsettled. Here, Stoicism offers a powerful counterpoint. It teaches us that while we can't control external events, like the actions of others, we can control our reactions to them. Stoic philosophy encourages us to examine our anxious feelings critically and rationally. Why are we anxious? What specific thoughts are fueling this anxiety? Often, we'll find that our fears are rooted in assumptions or expectations about how things should be. Stoics like Epictetus would remind us that these shoulds are not within our control, and adhering to them only sets us up for disappointment and distress. Instead, we are encouraged to focus on what we can do right now in response to our circumstances, which often means shifting our perspective from what we've lost to what we still have or can achieve. Moreover, Stoicism advocates for practicing mindfulness, being present in the current moment without lamenting the past or fearing the future. This can be particularly helpful in managing anxiety after someone disappears. By focusing on the present, you engage with your immediate environment and tasks, which can reduce feelings of anxiety by minimizing the weight of unknown future outcomes. Another Stoic strategy is to view every instance of anxiety as an opportunity to practice virtue. For example, the virtue of courage is not just about physical bravery, but also about facing our internal battles with resolve and composure. When we feel anxious about someone's disappearance, it's a chance to cultivate courage by confronting our fears directly, rather than allowing them to dictate our emotional state. We also benefit from practicing the Stoic exercise of premeditation, envisioning potential challenges and mentally preparing for them. This can temper anxiety by reducing the shock or impact of unexpected events. If we regularly remind ourselves that relationships can change and people might leave, we are better prepared emotionally when it does happen. This doesn't mean we live in constant anticipation of loss, but rather that we acknowledge it as a part of life and thus reduce its power to induce anxiety. Appreciation, an emotion that might not be the first thing you think about when someone disappears, is a profound one that often surfaces in the aftermath. When someone significant vanishes from your life, it can force you to reflect on the value they brought to your existence. In the context of Stoicism, appreciation isn't about clinging to the past, but recognizing and acknowledging the positive elements someone brought to your life without being overly attached. Through appreciation, we realize that while someone may no longer be part of our journey, their contributions, whether positive or negative, played a role in shaping who we are. This acknowledgement allows us to maintain gratitude without losing sight of our own agency. Stoicism teaches us that everything, even pain, has its purpose. It transforms our experiences into lessons rather than burdens. Reflection on values also prepares us for future relationships and interactions. By clearly understanding what is important to us, we are better equipped to choose partners and friends who share these values, reducing conflict and increasing the likelihood of deeper, more meaningful connections. It also enhances our resilience, as being grounded in our values provides a stable foundation that is less likely to be shaken by the actions of others. In practical terms, reflecting on our values in the wake of someone's departure involves both thought and action. It might mean setting aside time for meditation or journaling, engaging in discussions with trusted friends or mentors, or even seeking out philosophical or spiritual texts that resonate with our innermost beliefs. This active engagement with our values not only heals the wound left by someone's absence, but also enriches our lives, making us more thoughtful, purposeful, and principled individuals. When someone disappears from your life, it naturally leads to a reset of dynamics, not just in that particular relationship, but potentially across your entire social and personal spectrum. This reset isn't merely about filling the void or adjusting to the absence. It's about re-evaluating and often restructuring how we interact with others and ourselves. In Stoic terms, this is an opportunity to practice adaptability and to realign our lives with our principles, ensuring that our interactions are meaningful and reflective of our true selves. This resetting process might prompt us to look at who we are in the absence of the person who left. Stoicism teaches us that our core identity should not be overly dependent on our associations with others. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, emphasized the importance of being internally strong and self-sufficient, suggesting that true freedom comes from being unaffected by external losses. When the dynamics of a relationship reset, it challenges us to live up to this ideal, to find stability and contentment within ourselves rather than in our relationships. Moreover, a reset of dynamics often leads to improved relationships with others. For instance, the departure of a dominant or demanding person in your life might free up emotional and mental space, allowing for healthier relationships to flourish. You might find yourself reaching out to old friends, deepening bonds that were previously neglected, or even forming new connections that better serve your emotional and psychological needs. This reshuffling can bring a refreshing sense of renewal and growth. In a broader sense, resetting dynamics also affects how we approach future relationships. With the insights gained from the experience of someone leaving, we're better equipped to establish boundaries and expectations that are more aligned with our values. This might mean being more upfront about our needs, being pickier about whom we spend our time with, or even adopting a more open or guarded approach, depending on what we've learned. From a Stoic perspective, every change in dynamics is also a test of our virtue. Are we able to respond with patience and understanding? Can we maintain equanimity in the face of disruption? Are we willing to forgive and move forward without bitterness? These challenges are not easy, but they are profoundly shaping, helping us to cultivate a character that is robust, compassionate, and wise. Lastly, this reset is also about coming to terms with the impermanence of relationships and the ever-changing nature of life itself. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about the transient nature of the world, advising that we embrace change rather than resist it. In practical terms, this might mean accepting that people will come and go from our lives, but what remains constant is our ability to control our responses and maintain our integrity.